So welcome back to Newcastle Central. It's actually been a couple of weeks now since I did that last video where I was having some amount of problems with the Seeps PM1 point motors. I think I've kind of gotten over that. I ended up gluing the pins on the motors in place, leaving them for 24 hours to make sure that they didn't then actually foul the contacts. That seems to have worked out just fine. We have a visitor in the yard for the people that are a little curious as to why I have a Bachmann BNSF GP40 sitting here. I have a reason for that. Let me talk you through it. I've got the DCC electrics most of the way around the layout now at this point, and I have a number of the point motors in place. The problem that I'm having, aside from all the wiring that's kind of hanging out under there with my actual micro switches for all the points, is the ringfield motors on these older Hornby locos that I'm using having a heck of a lot of problems. And what's curious is that the reason why I'm taking the BNSF GP40 out for a spin is that this is a new model from Bachmann, and it is DCC fitted. I think it's multi-axle pickups on this, and I'm just getting very odd stalling when I'm running some of the actual older Hornby locos. And it's not stalling as I'm going over the points. It's not necessarily stalling right where we'll be coming over that electrofog point, and so I'm having a problem as it's trying to pick up the polarity. That's not where it's happening. It'll happen right here, right in the middle of the actual layout. So I tried 3 or 4 of the different Hornby class 43s. I was getting the exact same behavior, and so kind of out of frustration, it's just like, well, I know that this is a fairly reliable loco. I know that this would work just fine. And so here we are. We can see it coming up and parking next to the class 48. And I would much rather be running the class 48. Just to try and give an example, if we try and switch over now, so we're going to be looking at this class 43 here. Let's try and get it moving in the right direction. And let's just see what happens. This is where it's going to prove me wrong. It's going to be fine. And it's fine, and then it stalls. And it's not actually at an electrofog part right now. If we come in and look, the electrofog part, a little bit of a shadow, the electrofog part will be right here, and it's stalling out here. And it actually got a lot further than I thought it was going to, and give it a little bit of a nudge. And it's just not picking up, and then it'll kind of go, jerk. Now let's see if it will move. And then it's now just stopped. So I moved over the controller quick, but it's just kind of stopping in the middle. Let's try and give it a little bit of a nudge. It'll kind of pick itself up, and then see if it'll get over this frog. And yeah, now it's stopped. And I guess the back pickups were right at the electrofrog part, but here it's electrified again. Finally it will pick up, finally it will pick up, and then it stops. And again here, we don't have a point anywhere near here. And it's just kind of curious. I'm using brand new track, so the track is clean. Say that GP40, we do have some fireworks that might go off here. That will be fun. We have a carnival here in town, and so there is going to be a big fireworks display coming up in a few minutes, but it looks like some of the locals are wanting to do their own. Anyway, this Bachmann GP40 has no problem moving, whereas this class 43, we had to nudge that 2 or 3 times before doing anything. I'm missing the fat car here, so that's a little sad, but I thought I would at least show a little bit some of the pickups, some of the locos that we have in place. This is the class 91, so first buffet, and then we've got our 3 seconds. The actual driving loco is kind of hanging out over there. I don't have that DCC decoder running yet, so I just want to keep that off completely. We then had this class 43. It's the older Hornby, so it's the short coaches, but I think that looks okay. I'm not too particular about it, so first, and then we've got 3 seconds. That one does need buffet. Just kind of slide on out here. So now moving over to the Lima coaches, and the Lima coaches are actually what I would rather have for these Mark IIIs. So I've got first class, and then I've got TGS. And then on Swallow Livery, same thing. I've just got a TGS in the Lima tooling. Mark 4s are fine. The Mark 4s are the correct length on these Hornby ones. And this is probably the kind of wreck that I'm going to be running. I don't believe they made a TGS. Hornby didn't make a TGS in the Mark 4, but this is probably the wrecks that I'm going to be running. A 6+2, so 2 firsts, and then the restaurant, and then 3 seconds. So once this class 43 gets its preferred restaurant car, that'll be another 6+2 wreck, and then these two are the class 43s. I need a few more coaches before I can get that going. Class 40S is kind of hanging out as well, but I've got all the locos ready. I've got a bunch of coaches ready and in wrecks that I'm comfortable at. I could start doing things. I think I need to go back and take apart these ringfield motors. When I got the locos, I had taken them apart, serviced them, cleaned them. What I might need to do is put new brushes in. I didn't do that. That's the only thing that I did not do. I cleaned out all the contacts and took all of the actual gearings apart, lubricated all of those, but I didn't put new brushes in. And I think that's all I'm running into here. When it was on test track, they were going just fine. But now that I'm on, a bigger part of, much bigger length of track here, and it's trying to pull coaches. And I don't think it's the weight of the coaches. I've tried running just the actual locos themselves without any coaches. I still get the same kind of problem. But this little Bachmann GP40 has no problem. It does look a little odd sitting there next to the class 43s and the class 58s. But so I think I just wanted to show a little bit of an update as to where we are. I do have a number of the motors in place now. It seems like they're going to work just fine. I do need to now figure out building a panel. We have something like 25 point motors throughout the actual station itself, and I don't have all 25 motors fitted, but just to give an example, what I do have, if we come down here, we do just have, here's an example of switches that are just kind of hanging out. So I need to figure out a panel, probably somewhere around here, and there's a little Thomas the Tank Engine table that my kids play with. Hopefully they're asleep at this point, but probably going to have a panel somewhere around here. I feel like this is where I would also put a access point for the actual DCC controller, so I can plug that in. This is where I'll probably be doing most of the controlling from, so you'll be standing somewhere like this, and so you can see the trains as they're coming in from the north side of the station. You'll be able to see the trains coming in and out from the south side of the station, so it makes sense that the control panel for all of the point motors would be around here. So I think that's probably going to be the next couple of things that I'm working on. So it might be a few weeks now before there'll be another update. It's just going to be kind of slow going while I get new brushes and try and get all these ringfield motors serviced and in a condition where they run just as smooth as that nice little GP40. But I'm pretty encouraged by the fact that that GP40 does run around here quite nicely. And hopefully once we get the rest of the switch motors in place and we start to get the panel in place, then we'd actually be able to start running some trains for real, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.